All right, we are here. The Benham is in World of Warships Legends. This is Chili Games. I will be giving my little impression on it. It's okay, to say the least. Before we get into really everything right off the bat, it's okay, and I won't really go more into. I'll go more into later. But before we start this video, I know a while back I said that I was going to try and be more positive, and I realized that I had gotten away from that. So it's something that I really, really, really want to do. Right now, I am super slammed with work and school. This video is being made before work right now. I'm going to get it out to you guys. Anyways, I am happy that I have the ability and the energy to do all of this. I have matured a lot over the last, probably last year for sure. Not just, physically, but, mentally and all the things that I'm able to somewhat balance right now. And obviously it's always going to be a struggle, but for right now, I'm thankful for the breath that I have and the energy that I have to do this for you guys. So enough on that. The Benham. So obviously you see there what we're going to be doing is rippling off these torps here. This ship is going to excel in this sort of position right here, kind of somewhat kiting away from an objective. I know that there is no... Well, the reason why I'm giving such a wide berth is because of that Indianapolis there and the Edinburgh. I do not know if the Edinburgh has radar as well. So that is why we're somewhat giving a weird little berth here. I'm going to be wrapping around. I'm going to try to go to this other side here so I can get more torps and also spot where that Indy is. So what does the Benham bring to the table? Obviously the torpedoes there. And why do I think it's okay? The Benham on PC is an absolute troll meme monster. You're looking at these kind of torpedoes right here. They are faster. This is on PC. They are faster. They have like 10.5 kilometer range. And I believe a shorter reload. So you were spitting out these torps at 10 kilometers. They're faster. It is literally ungodly what this ship can do in terms of torpedo DPM. So the Benham it's a tier 9 on PC. So the Benham Dunham on WoW's Legends, what do we have? It is a tier 6. And as soon as I realized that, I was like, oh man, this ship is going to get absolutely demolished because they have to dumb it down. If they're going down 3 tiers, it's not going to be the Benham that a lot of people know of, for sure, because it's going to have to be downgraded towards tier 6. And that is effectively what we got. And for the commander, I'm using a standard Halsey commander. I think it's technically Mordov. It's the new commander or whatever, but Mordov is basically the Halsey type. I'm using twist and track, so there's nothing too crazy there. Get a little torpedo there. This is an excellent spot to show how the torpedoes can be good, but also really, really terrible. We hit so many torpedoes there, but we don't get any kills, and that's really what's going to set this thing apart. Is the torpedo range is 7.5 kilometers, so pretty dang bad in my opinion. And also the torpedo alpha is very, very low. You're looking at, I think, a max of 9,000 damage, 9,600 I believe, and that doesn't take into account for the torpedo damage reduction. So something like a Yamato, which you won't technically face, but let's say, Yamato is 55%. So not only do you have to get insanely close with these torpedoes, because you can't fire these. This is like, you're basically playing a Mayhem, honestly. Think of it like that, with extra torpedoes. You could be hitting a Yamato for like 4,000 damage per torpedo. That is terrible. That is so bad in combination with the the short range. Like with this range, you have to get pretty dang close. And you see here, I'm already radared as well. Edinburgh is very, very hurt. He was somewhat in my range, so I was like, you know what? If I can get him off the board here, that wouldn't be terrible. And this is actually one of my best games in the Benham, and it's really not much to show for. This ship has brought me to the breaking point twice. I have just not had. I think this is my only win in like 6 games with it. It is just. It is a ship that is significantly weaker than I would like it to be. But the other thing is, let's say they give it 9.2 kilometer range, like a Fletcher, and they put it at tier 7. Then tier 7 has another torpedo spamming destroyer, and I don't think anyone wants that at all. I certainly don't. So the Benham to me is kind of a lose-lose situation. It's either super nerfed down to where it's super meh and boring, in my opinion, or it's strong and it's meta at tier 7 or very annoying at tier 7, and that's not what I want either. I just don't. We need to stop with the torpedo boats. Like, we need to stop with the torpedo boats. Please, please, please. The thing that this game really, really needs, in my opinion, are destroyers that play caps, that are good at contesting caps and playing the objective supporting roles, not just going off on a flank and getting, 10, 15 torpedo hits and a loss thinking you did something crazy. I want a ship at legendary tier, like a destroyer at legendary tier, that is going to be like a Fletcher Lightning Z23 that can play caps aggressively somewhat, but also be very good in a lot of different areas. That little rant is over. Sorry there. So you're seeing here we have 7 torpedo hits. We also have 77,000 damage. A little bit of that was flooding as well, if you did notice the flooding on the Roma. And how does this differ from the Benson as well? You do lose a turret. You only have 4, and your main battery reload is right under 4 seconds. If you are using Mordov with that, his skill is technically it takes off main battery reload for destroyers. So I think mine is like 4.2. So it's like 3.8 second reload on 4 turrets. So it's not terrible. You're definitely not a Benson for sure, but you can defend yourself okay-ish if you have to. And twist and track is going to help with that as well. But definitely, you really do not want to go into cap circles at the beginning of the game and expect to come out with a lot of health if an enemy destroyer knows how to contest it as well. So the biggest problem here, we have Wichita. He is going to be within radar range, and not that I'm too scared, but I also don't want to push in there with that Indianapolis as well. This has been a very slow game, and with the Nagato just about to die here, I'm going to see if I can get some follow-up shots. And what I'm going to do here is I'm also baiting that Wichita out as well. If I really, really have to, I can dodge Wichita a solid bit. So we put a fire on the Nagato. That would have secured the kill there. So we did what we had to do. I'm spotted anyways, and those prediction torps are going to hit the Wichita perfectly there, so that worked out really, really well in our favor. The Indianapolis goes down as well. And enough commentating on the game. What do you guys want to see in terms of the Benham? Do I think the campaign is worth it? This is always going to be a question that's asked. Is it worth your money? I will almost always say yes. And for that reason, you're not, even if you don't want the ship, the amount of resources that you will get from the whole campaign, in my opinion, are going to be extremely worth your time. And that's up to anybody. I think it's going to be 2,500. You get a fair bit of doubloons back. I would say I think it's 750. I'm not too sure about that, but you do get doubloons back. So you're getting value back, and you're getting premium time as well. So the value. The personal commendations or the commendations, universal ones, and also you have insignia, stuff like that. I think the campaign's always going to be worth it. The ship is always kind of an extra reward, even if you don't want it. But in terms of if you're getting this campaign just for the ship, is this the Benham that you will like? If you have played PC, you're going to be you're going to be very upset. If you haven't seen anything, this is your first video seeing the Benham on Legends. This is not PC Benham. It is nowhere near PC Benham. Absolutely. I mean, it's not bad, but I wouldn't say it's good either. There was actually a game where One of the first times this has ever happened. I actually played an entire match with this thing at tier 7, and I finished the game and it gave me 0 battle contribution. I think I ended the game with, and I didn't die either, ended the game with like 200 base XP. Like, there was just literally no place I could push. My torps weren't long enough to get into engagements. I had lost a little bit of health, so I couldn't contest any destroyers at tier 7 with the guns that I have. My team was terrible. I couldn't push anywhere. It was absolutely, it was awful. It was one of the worst experiences I have ever had in Legends for sure. And obviously I'm, totally accepting that I don't know how to play this thing to its strengths. Obviously, that is something that is always, comes into play. But I would like to think that I can be a decent player, and for the most part, man, I just think this ship is just, it's nerfed so bad down to tier 6. It just almost feels like, why do we even need it in the, like, why does it need to be in the game anyways if it's going to be nerfed this bad? Because no one's going to enjoy it. I mean, if you, no one on PC is going to enjoy it, because it's like, oh, this thing is terrible, because it was so broken and fun and retarded on the PC version. But also, we don't need a broken, strong torpedo boat in the game right now. It would be like them adding a Kutuzov B. It's like, we don't need that. The core game does not need that. So Benham is a very mixed bag for me. It's not even a mixed bag. I don't like it. It's okay. I will never see myself like playing it. It's gimmick with the torpedoes. There may be one game out of 10 where I needed the torpedoes like that over anything else, where I was like, oh man, only Benham could have made that play there. This is the only ship in the game at tier 6, and the only destroyer at tier 6 that could have made that play. And that will happen, obviously, for sure. But in terms of consistency, this ship has really, really struggled for me. It's just, it would be better. I'm very surprised that, how, as you know, the USN do not have any perks that increase torpedo range for anybody. So I was very surprised when they added the torpedo boats, and also the Monahan, when they didn't add any perks that gave any, like, subsurface venture or whatever that increases your torpedo range. If these torpedoes had, 8.5 kilometers, maybe even spec'd up to 9, the ship would be really, really good in my opinion. But 7.5, especially with, with how passive tier 7 is, and how, like, I don't know, 7.5 is very, very short for just a torpedo focused ship. And if you do realize, this game is actually really close. We have to find this Akatsuki. It is not a good time right now. This actually becomes a very, very close game right down in the last 10 seconds, I believe. So I hope you guys are still here. What was I saying about the Benham? Yeah, so it's like something with a Mahan. You have guns. You're gun oriented. You have twist and track. You play caps. You play islands. You're not a torpedo boat. You have short torpedoes because you're not a torpedo boat. You have the power to devastate people with the right plays, but for the most part, you're a gunboat. This is like, yeah, we're gonna take a gunboat, lose a turret on it, and make it a torpedo boat, but the torpedoes are very meh. Like, it is so unbelievably difficult to devastating strike anybody because the torpedo is very low. So if you have to do a lot of damage really quickly, you're going to struggle. And obviously, and look at me, listen, this is going to come right down to it here. I actually hit this guy right here, I think. It should be soon, actually. Do I? Like, the time is done. I hit him right there. My teammate sees that. Watch this shot. My teammate, whoever you are, comes in for the absolute clutch. What a beautiful shot. And I was like, yo, that was dope. I was spamming the comms. So save the game there. So obviously before we go, Benham, it's super meh. I mean, it is not the PC Benham. Campaign is worth it for the other resources, but in terms of the ship, it's to me nothing special uh, at all. Really, I don't see myself playing it very often. But obviously thankful for the chance to review it. So guys, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you will see. Oh, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Peace, guys.